It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Your mind is a battlefield, and every day, unseen forces maneuver to capture territory. Thoughts left unchecked are seized by others' influence, shaped by habits, social pressure, or the constant hum of external messaging. The world surrounds you with subtle commands, authority figures, colleagues, media outlets, and algorithms that push, nudge, and provoke. Recognize them as the invisible puppeteers attempting to orchestrate your actions. Each notification, opinion, and trend can be a skirmish in a larger war over attention and decision-making. Guard your inner throne with vigilance. Every thought you allow to wander without scrutiny is a territory lost. Mental laziness surrenders initiative, leaving you a reactive player on your own battlefield. Observe patterns in behavior, both yours and others, to identify where influence seeps in unchallenged. A single lapse in focus can allow a minor distraction to snowball into a strategic loss. To defend effectively, deploy clarity as armor and presence as a shield. Decide what to consume mentally and refuse the streams of inconsequential input that dilute judgment. When disagreement arises, respond with measured calm rather than immediate counterattack. Maintain authority without escalating conflict. For instance, when a colleague questions your method in a meeting, acknowledge their perspective briefly, redirect focus to the objective, and continue decisively. Every action reinforces or undermines your internal command. Map the landscape of your mental battlefield. Identify the high-value thoughts, the beliefs that grant strength, and the weak points susceptible to intrusion. Implement tactical rituals. Prioritize strategic reflection in silence. Limit unnecessary exposure to disruptive forces, and reinforce mental frameworks that align with long-term goals. Language shapes perception. Weak phrasing diffuses authority. Strong phrasing asserts it. Weak: I think this might work. Strong: this approach aligns with the objective. Weak: perhaps we should consider. Strong: we will proceed with the plan. These subtle shifts protect your sovereignty and signal competence. Visualize each day as a series of tactical maneuvers. Every decision, no matter how small, can expand or shrink your domain of control. Measure each interaction against the cost of surrendering influence. Develop heightened awareness of cues, tone, and intent in conversation, ensuring your presence commands respect. Maintain calm confidence in the face of provocation, and let your consistency dictate the rhythm of engagement. Allow no thought to dominate you unchallenged. Reclaim initiative through deliberate attention and disciplined reflection. Observe the world with a predator's vigilance. Anticipate attempts to divert or sway, and strike decisively with action rooted in self-mastery. Train the mind to recognize and neutralize subtle pressures before they accumulate. Stand firm, defend your territory, and let influence flow outward from a secure throne. Reinforce this daily. Establish boundaries, choose focus deliberately, and act with clear intent. The battlefield is continuous, yet mastery is attainable. Control yourself first, and the rest becomes secondary. Command your mind, command your world. Your mind is a throne, and all influence flows from the sovereignty you assert over it. Guard it with unwavering vigilance, for every distraction or unmanaged impulse is a breach of your internal kingdom. Fortify your mental space as a fortress. Identify the ideas, beliefs, and routines that strengthen clarity and eliminate the clutter that undermines focus. The simplest intrusion, an unchecked thought or habitual reaction, can be a foothold for external influence. Luence. Observe patterns in your own behavior and the environments you occupy to anticipate where manipulation or distraction can arise. Elevate awareness as a crown. Sharpen perception so that every nuance in conversation, tone, and social signal becomes a piece of intelligence on your strategic map. Recognize when subtle pressures attempt to sway decisions or provoke emotional reactions, and respond with deliberate calculation rather than reflex. Set strict internal rules as royal decrees. Establish standards for how you allocate attention, energy, and emotional resources. Define boundaries that preserve autonomy and create predictability in your conduct. For instance, when a peer challenges your approach in a meeting, acknowledge their point concisely, reinforce the objective, and maintain your position without escalation, demonstrating controlled authority. Prioritize reflection as a daily ritual, reinforcing mental defenses and sustaining the clarity needed to govern effectively. Review choices and interactions to ensure they align with long-term objectives rather than transient impulses. Deploy tactical imperatives. Eliminate distractions before they accumulate. Interrogate every thought for utility and assert control over reactions. Visualize your mind as a citadel, strong walls, vigilant sentries, and a commanding vantage that surveys all internal and external movements. Reject mental complacency and habituated patterns that erode sovereignty. Language reinforces command. Weak phrasing diffuses authority. Strong phrasing projects certainty. Weak. I guess this could work. Strong. This approach achieves the objective. Weak. Perhaps we should try. Strong. We will implement the plan. Each deliberate choice strengthens dominion, ensuring influence stems from disciplined presence rather than reaction. Fortify the throne continuously. Defend it with clarity, expand it with awareness, and govern it with rules that enforce consistency and self-respect. This sovereignty is the foundation from which all subsequent influence arises. Stand vigilant, act decisively, and let every thought and choice reflect the command of your internal kingdom. Master your mind, rule your world. The first hours of your day are a battlefield, and control here determines the rhythm of every interaction that follows. Seize the first strike advantage. Claim your energy and focus before external forces intervene. Morning decisions set the tempo of your mental and emotional state. Hesitation allows distraction to encroach, surrendering initiative. Begin with deliberate rituals that act as armor against chaos. Structured routines, prioritized tasks, and clear intentions form protective walls around your attention. These rituals are not ceremonial. They are tactical deployments designed to shield your focus and conserve willpower for the engagements ahead. Scan the horizon as a predator does, anticipating obstacles, commitments, and potential distractions before they appear. Plan the trajectory of your day with precision. Map critical tasks. Allocate energy where it will yield maximum impact. And identify points of friction that require heightened vigilance. Weak phrasing or indecision early in the morning propagates weakness throughout the day. Weak. I might get to this later. Strong. This is prioritized and will be completed first. Weak. I'll see how it goes. Strong. I will execute according to plan. These linguistic shifts reinforce mental authority and signal internal command. Protect the early hours by minimizing interruptions, silence notifications, limit exposure to reactive inputs, and reserve strategic thinking for unbroken focus periods. When disagreements arise in meetings or communications, handle them with calm authority. Acknowledge the differing perspective, redirect attention to objectives, and proceed decisively, maintaining psychological upper hand without confrontation. Observe your habits critically. Identify which behaviors drain resources and replace them with disciplined actions that expand control. Each small victory in these early hours compounds, fortifying the mind and body for challenges ahead. Your morning is not passive. It is a tactical theater where preparation dictates dominance. Establish a routine that signals readiness, trains attention, and reinforces sovereignty over internal and external forces. Move deliberately, act decisively, and anticipate contingencies with the foresight of a predator stalking territory. Protect the fortress of focus with vigilance, plan with precision, and execute with confidence. The day bends to those who control its first moves. Own the morning, command the day. Silence is a weapon, precise and unyielding, shaping the battlefield without a single visible strike. Master stillness, and you gain the vantage of a predator, eyes fixed, senses alert, movements measured. Observe intentions, detect weaknesses, and map the terrain of thought around you before committing a response. The silent predator moves without announcement, letting others reveal strategy through speech and action while conserving energy and influence. Pause before action. Delay is not hesitation, it is control. Each measured moment allows assessment of threats, alignment of objectives, and preparation of the optimal response. Reactive RDS often surrender authority. Deliberate timing seizes it. Cultivate an invisible grip over interactions. Let your presence communicate power, and let scarce words carry weight. Influence grows when language is chosen deliberately, tone is consistent, and timing is strategic. Weak phrasing or excessive commentary diffuses impact. Weak. I suppose that could work. Strong. This aligns with the objective and will proceed. Weak. Maybe we should consider. Strong. We act decisively according to plan. In moments of disagreement, respond with calm authority. Acknowledge the perspective, redirect focus to the objective, and proceed without confrontation, maintaining psychological dominance. Monitor the environment like a predator scanning for movement. Subtle shifts in posture, tone, and expression reveal opportunities to guide outcomes. Reserve silence as a shield and sword, allowing others to overcommit or expose vulnerability while you maintain clarity and control. Apply stillness across all interactions, meetings, conversations, and decision-making. Each pause fortifies perception, amplifies influence, and conserves mental resources. Train the mind to tolerate quiet and resist the urge to fill gaps with reactive words. Discipline in silence creates space for reflection, strategy, and precise action. Observe, calculate, and act with the weight of command in every measured gesture. Protect your internal equilibrium while letting your presence dominate the external field. Silence is never empty. It is a controlled strike, a strategic stance, and a tool for influence that grows with restraint and patience. Stand motionless, yet commanding, deliberate, yet decisive, letting every word that emerges carry authority and purpose. Stillness conquers all. Authority demands decisive action against elements that weaken control. Identify distractions, toxic influences, and counterproductive habits as enemies on your battlefield. Leaders throughout history have removed obstacles with precision, understanding that unchecked interference erodes power. Cut the dead weight decisively. Eliminate relationships, routines, or commitments that drain focus and energy without offering strategic value. Each removal strengthens clarity and consolidates command. Conduct a psychological cleanse internally. Confront limiting beliefs, challenge indecision, and discard mental patterns that hinder decisive action. Recognize self-sabotaging thoughts as covert adversaries. Analyze their origins, neutralize their influence, and replace them with disciplined frameworks that support objectives. Targeted strikes are the method of mastery. Address threats with precision rather than scatter effort. When confronting external disruptions or disagreements, act with controlled authority. Acknowledge the issue briefly, assert the strategic objective, and proceed without hesitation. Weak phrasing or vacillation signals vulnerability. Strong phrasing communicates dominance. Weak. I'm not sure this is worth pursuing. Strong. We will act according to the plan. Weak. Perhaps we can adjust later. Strong. This adjustment is implemented now. Apply these principles consistently to daily routines, communication, and decision-making. Every action that removes unnecessary friction or distraction expands your influence and consolidates authority. Observe your environment like a strategist. Note where inefficiency or resistance arises and address it swiftly. Discipline your attention, energy, and engagement, treating every element that drains resources as a target for elimination. Refuse to tolerate mediocrity in yourself or others when it conflicts with your objectives. Repeated, precise removal of obstacles creates a mental and operational landscape optimized for control. Strength is not in accumulation, but in selective pruning. Eliminate what weakens, retain what empowers. Train decisiveness as a habit. Each calculated strike reinforces sovereignty over your actions and surroundings. Stand firm, act deliberately, and maintain clarity of purpose as you dismantle barriers to mastery. Eliminate the unnecessary, dominate the essential. Authority is not granted. It is projected through presence, demeanor, and the strategic ambiguity you cultivate. Wear the armor of composure. Control emotional expression to convey stability, command, and confidence. Allow no frustration, impatience, or doubt to reveal weakness. For others, read subtle cues more accurately than overt statements. Project power even in uncertainty by maintaining a strategic facade. Posture, tone, and pacing shape perception before any words are spoken. When outcomes are unclear, your steady presence signals competence and inspires compliance without force. Silent signals are equally critical. Gestures, eye contact, and measured pauses communicate authority more effectively than speech alone. Weak phrasing or excessive explanation undermines impact. Weak. I hope this works for everyone. Strong. We proceed with this approach. Weak. Perhaps this is acceptable. Strong. This is the course we follow. These adjustments reinforce credibility and project control. Handle disagreements calmly, letting composure guide interactions. Acknowledge objections briefly, reaffirm objectives, and continue without escalation. Observe the environment like a predator, assessing opportunity. Subtle movements, changes in tone, or hesitation indicate areas where influence can be extended. Consistent projection of composure creates psychological leverage, allowing you to guide outcomes subtly yet decisively. Practice deliberate pauses, measured expressions, and intentional gestures to establish dominance without confrontation. Align internal focus with external signals to ensure congruence. Inconsistency erodes trust and weakens perceived authority. Train yourself to maintain calm under pressure, using silence and restraint as tools for influence. Reinforce this daily through self-awareness, reflection, and rehearsal of responses to potential challenges. Your mask of command becomes a fortress, concealing uncertainty while projecting strength. Influence grows when presence commands attention, gestures convey intent, and ambiguity forces others to align with your cues. Stand firm, communicate with precision, and project unwavering authority through composure and subtlety. Command presence, command outcomes. Decisive action demands a mental killer instinct, a focus sharpened to strike at opportunity without hesitation. Cultivate predatory focus, identify objectives with clarity, eliminate distractions, and pursue outcomes with lethal efficiency. Each decision is a strike. Delay allows opponents and circumstances to seize initiative. The shadow of threat extends influence before action is taken. Presence alone signals capability, authority, and readiness. When others sense unwavering resolve, they adjust behavior preemptively, reducing resistance without confrontation. Eliminate hesitation by confronting fear and indecision directly. Analyze risks, commit to action, and trust preparation over impulse. Weak phrasing or indecision undermines authority. Weak. I'm not sure if this will work. Strong. This is executed now. Weak. Perhaps we can wait. Strong. We act immediately. In interactions, handle dissent with controlled precision. Acknowledge objections briefly, reaffirm strategy, and proceed decisively, letting presence alone reinforce authority. Train the mind to prioritize objectives ruthlessly, stripping away distractions and indecision that dilute power. Observe your environment like a predator, assessing terrain. Anticipate movements, exploit openings, and strike when the moment aligns with strategy. Cultivate mental resilience to bypass fear and paralysis, replacing hesitation with calculated action. Each committed move reinforces dominance, asserting control over outcomes before opposition can react. Practice visualization of decisive engagement. Imagine challenges, rehearse responses, and internalize the mindset of swift, effective execution. Every task approached with this killer instinct compounds influence, creating a psychological aura that commands compliance without overt coercion. Consolidate focus, maintain readiness, and act with the precision of a predator. Let every step reflect strategy, clarity, and unshakable resolve. Stand vigilant, strike deliberately, and allow your presence to preempt resistance. Strike with focus, rule with intent. Harness your primal drives and convert raw desire into disciplined influence. Controlled hunger fuels action without surrendering to chaos. Channel ambition, curiosity, and motivation towards strategic objectives rather than impulsive distraction. Each craving, when disciplined, becomes energy for persuasion, focus, and measured dominance. Exercise the predator's patience. Time interventions and influence precisely, striking when conditions are optimal. Rushed action diminishes impact. Anticipation amplifies authority. Observe social dynamics with careful calculation, noting who reacts, who hesitates, and where opportunities for leverage emerge. Alpha signals communicate strength subtly. Posture, tone, gaze, and micro-gestures broadcast dominance within social hierarchies without overt assertion. Weak phrasing undermines presence. Weak. I think I can manage this. Strong. This is executed according to plan. Weak. Perhaps we should wait. Strong. We act decisively now. In disagreement, maintain composure. Acknowledge differing views succinctly, reinforce objectives, and proceed with calm authority, letting presence dictate the outcome. Balance assertiveness with restraint. Dominance is recognized more through control than aggression. Align internal drives with external actions. Convert ambition into structured output, desire into strategic leverage, and focus into consistent execution. Feed the wolf within. Discipline energy, hunger, and drive, so that each interaction, negotiation, or task is approached with precision and intent. Monitor environments like a predator scanning territory. Identify signals of opportunity, leverage timing, and act where influence yields maximum effect. Avoid overexposure of desire. Subtlety magnifies impact and preserves authority. Build momentum by coupling internal drive with calculated timing, projecting dominance through posture, speech, and controlled energy. Practice daily reflection to ensure impulses serve strategy rather than distraction. Each controlled action compounds influence, reinforcing the perception of mastery and self-command. Stand vigilant, feed ambition wisely, and channel instinct into power. Feed the drive, master the field. Every interaction is a move on the chessboard of life, where foresight and calculation dictate outcomes. Begin with opening gambits. Set initial conditions by establishing expectations, framing dialogue, and signaling intent. The first moves shape perception and influence subsequent decisions, granting control over the tempo of engagement. Sacrifices and trades are strategic tools. Minor concessions, whether in words, time, or resources, can secure far greater advantages, shifting opponents into predictable patterns and opening pathways to influence. Evaluate each concession not as loss, but as positioning for long-term gain. Endgame precision demands planning multiple steps ahead. Anticipate reactions, map consequences, and corner key influence points systematically. Weak phrasing undermines authority. Weak. Maybe we can adjust later. Strong. This sequence is executed now. Weak. I hope this works. Strong. This is implemented according to plan. In interactions, handle disagreements with calculated calm. Acknowledge objections briefly. Reinforce strategy, and continue decisively, maintaining control of the narrative. Observe the broader landscape. Identify allies, obstacles, and potential threats as pieces on your board, each with value and limitations. Align moves with overarching objectives, leveraging timing, positioning, and psychological insight to maximize impact. Train yourself to recognize patterns of behavior, predict outcomes, and anticipate opportunities, treating each interaction as a deliberate maneuver rather than a reaction. Maintain flexibility. While planning ahead is essential, adapt to unexpected shifts without compromising strategic intent. Consistency in calculated execution cultivates respect, authority, and psychological leverage, allowing influence to extend beyond immediate actions. Each move, whether subtle or overt, compounds advantage when executed with discipline, foresight, and precision. Stand vigilant, calculate deliberately, and advance methodically, turning every interaction into a strategic conquest. Think ahead, move with purpose, dominate the board. Discipline is the forge of power, and every day is a chance to temper your will like steel. Begin with daily drills of discipline. Structure your mornings with intention. Practice tasks to mastery, and repeat with unwavering consistency. These routines are not mundane. They are the anvil on which resilience is hammered, each repetition reinforcing control and fortitude. Resistance conditioning elevates this further. Deliberately expose yourself to pressure, discomfort, and challenges to simulate the unpredictability of real-world influence. By rehearsing adversity, you train your mind to maintain calm and decisiveness under stress. Mental armor is forged through these rituals. Cultivate awareness of manipulation attempts, recognize subtle psychological nudges, and fortify your response with deliberate, measured actions. In conversation, handle conflicting opinions with composed authority, acknowledging dissent without surrendering your strategy. Weak phrasing undermines perception. Weak, I'll try to manage this. Strong, this is executed according to plan. Weak, perhaps we can adjust. Strong, this sequence is implemented. These exercises are not merely habits. They are the rituals that harden resolve, enhance self-command, and establish unshakable authority. Engage each day as a deliberate battle, where every repetition, challenge, and conscious act reinforces your mental sovereignty. Stand firm, endure pressure, and emerge disciplined, turning ordinary routines into instruments of mastery. Forge your will, command your life, remain unbroken. Authority is most potent when it is seen but not touched, felt but not questioned. Cultivate an aura of mastery by embodying composure, decisiveness, and unshakable confidence in every interaction. Your posture, tone, and presence must communicate invulnerability without overt display. Construct a psychological shield around your decisions. Anticipate critique, foresee challenges, and maintain calm while others react. Let no interference penetrate your strategy. Respond to dissent with acknowledgement, yet without concession. Micro-examples reinforce perception. When a colleague questions a deadline, nod to recognize the concern, then proceed with your plan unshaken, demonstrating composed authority. Language framing sharpens influence. Weak, I hope this works out. Strong, this will proceed as executed. Weak, perhaps we could reconsider. Strong, the sequence is implemented. Weak, I think this might be effective. Strong, this achieves the intended result. Finally, become a magnet of obedience. Influence grows from perceived competence, consistency, and fairness rather than coercion. Prioritize mastery over dominance. Let your presence guide choices naturally. Position yourself so others align without force, creating a flow of compliance that feels voluntary. Stand firm, radiate command, and maintain clarity in all decisions, drawing respect through silent control and assured action. Command quietly, influence effortlessly, remain untouchable. Every move you make is the culmination of strategy, presence, and discipline. The Machiavellian mind is forged through relentless refinement, each principle sharpened into a precise tool of influence. Begin by synthesizing the tactics you have mastered. Stillness anchors observation, rituals fortify energy, presence commands without words, and decisiveness strikes with clarity. These threads intertwine to create a mental armor that shields from distraction, indecision, and manipulation. Internal sovereignty is non-negotiable. Your throne is secured when your thoughts are disciplined, your emotions measured, and your focus unwavering. Treat each interaction as terrain to navigate, every gesture and tone a lever to adjust outcomes. Anticipate responses like a predator anticipating prey, observing micro-expressions, and reading intentions with calculated patience. Timing becomes a weapon. Act with precision. Delay when advantage demands, and let others reveal themselves through action, while you maintain silent control. Language framing is essential. Weak. I hope this will work. Strong. This will proceed as executed. Weak. Perhaps we should reconsider. Strong. The plan is implemented. Weak. I think this is effective. Strong. This achieves the intended result. Your internal kingdom must remain unassailable. Eliminate limiting beliefs, sever indecision, and neutralize distractions with deliberate action. Rituals of discipline reinforce resilience. Morning routines, focus drills, and mental rehearsals prepare you to act decisively regardless of external conditions. Presence alone becomes influence. Subtle cues, posture, and tone shape perception without force. Micro-examples clarify practice. When a team member challenges your approach, acknowledge their concern with calm recognition. Then proceed with the strategy unshaken, demonstrating authority without aggression. Sacrifices and trades are calculated. Minor concessions secure major advantages while maintaining overarching control. Endgame precision governs your long-term influence. Plan multiple steps ahead to corner opportunities and prevent opposition from anticipating your next move. Controlled hunger channels desire into productivity rather than distraction, and predatory patience ensures actions align with maximal impact. The final maneuver integrates all 15 psychological triggers as invisible levers, shifting outcomes effortlessly and silently. Each trigger, stillness, ritual presence, decisiveness, patience, subtle signaling, emotional mastery, elimination of hesitation, strategic ambiguity, controlled hunger, alpha signals, daily discipline, tactical sacrifices, timing, and micro-influence, interlocks into a seamless framework of mental command. Your influence becomes automatic, flowing from competence, clarity, and unwavering control. Practice is continuous. Mastery deepens through repetition, reflection, and deliberate refinement of tactics. Others follow not out of fear, but recognition of capability and consistency. In this state, persuasion is effortless, authority unquestioned, and strategy executed with invisible precision. Stand in your throne, survey the board, and execute every decision with calm confidence. Command silently, influence decisively, and maintain absolute control over the internal and external spheres. Forge the mind, strike with certainty, rule without touch. Every interaction is a battlefield, and your mind is the general who directs without hesitation. Influence begins internally. Mastery of thought precedes mastery over outcomes. Begin by assessing every distraction, habit, and emotional impulse as potential weaknesses in your formation. Cut the dead weight with precision. Eliminate counterproductive routines, toxic relationships, and indecision that erodes authority. Ritualize discipline to condition resilience. Daily mental drills, focused repetition, and exposure to pressure fortify your capacity to act decisively under scrutiny. Stillness is your reconnaissance. Observe before responding, letting silence amplify presence, while revealing intentions and vulnerabilities. Project authority through posture, tone, and measured gestures. Your aura communicates what words cannot. Controlled hunger channels ambition into strategic execution. transforming desire into productive influence rather than impulsive chaos. Timing is a weapon. Act when conditions favor maximum impact. Delay when patience increases leverage. Sacrifices and trades are tactical maneuvers. Minor concessions secure larger gains without weakening your position. Anticipate moves on the social chessboard. Plan multiple steps ahead to corner opportunities and neutralize opposition before it crystallizes. Micro examples illustrate practice. When a colleague questions a decision, acknowledge the input calmly, then implement your strategy unshaken, demonstrating command without confrontation. Language shapes perception. Weak. I hope this works. Strong. This will proceed as executed. Weak. Perhaps we should reconsider. Strong. The plan is implemented. Weak. I think this is effective. Strong. This achieves the intended result. The mind becomes an internal throne. Emotions, decisions, and focus are protected by invisible armor. Presence alone influences behavior, creating a psychological shield against interference. Each of the 15 psychological triggers, stillness, ritual, presence, decisiveness, patience, subtle signaling, emotional mastery, elimination of hesitation, strategic ambiguity, controlled hunger, alpha signals, daily discipline, tactical sacrifices, timing, and micro-influence, interlocks to form an unassailable framework. Exercise them consistently until influence becomes automatic, flowing naturally from competence and clarity. Your authority is recognized without coercion, and persuasion occurs silently, effortlessly. Stand firm in internal sovereignty. Observe with predatory focus. Act decisively. And let subtle mastery guide every interaction. Command your mind, and the world obeys.